is orchestrated by the hand of God. I heard the word said on this wise, Genesis, amen, 50 and verse 20. But as for you, you thought evil against me, but God meant it unto my good. Look at somebody and say, this too is working for my good. Woo. God, that's a good place to holler there. He said, but as for you, you thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to bring to pass as of this day to save much people alive. So the Chaldeans were God's purpose. Can I say this here? Everything you're dealing with is for the purpose and the plan of God to be fulfilled in your life. I know they were to the point of breaking down. I know they were to the point of giving up. To the point of as where some of you are today, frustrated, aggravated, irritated. But God was serving his purpose through the enemies of his people. In the text, the prophet begins to say, I will stand upon my watch. I will look up, look round, look within, to watch and see what the Lord will say unto me. Many theologians and many scholars will ask a question, how can I visualize what's verbalized? How can I visualize what's verbalized? Look at somebody and say time. Time has a way to manifest everything spoken in your life. God Almighty, am I talking to somebody's here today? Time has a way to bring into manifestation everything spoken. That's how you can visualize what he verbalized. Look at somebody say, give it a little bit of time. Can you shake somebody's hand and say, give it a little bit of time? God not only speaks to us by his word, but by our conscience. Don't you know your spirit man is your God consciousness? My spirit is my God conscious, and he speaks to me and he tells me, this is the way. Walk therein. Many times we expect God to holler, to scream, to squall at us, but many times he speaks to us in a still, small voice. And what I call our conscience, our God consciousness being our spirit. Your spirit man will tell you, don't go there. Don't do that. Don't say that. Don't wear that. Don't act like that. Don't befriend him. Don't befriend her. Look at somebody say, your God consciousness. Those that expect to hear from God must withdraw from the world. You must be sanctified. God, can I say that here? Look at somebody say, you've got to be sanctified. You must withdraw from the world to get above it. To raise your attentions. Fix your thoughts. Study the scriptures. Consult experiences and the experienced. Continue in spite of and be instant in prayer. Set yourselves upon a tower. You got to be again sanctified. I'm almost there. When I get there, you'll know I'm almost done. The saints at this point of time were perplexed by what they saw. They saw the Chaldeans look like riding over their heads. Looked like God had left them for dead. But yet, understand, God gives Habakkuk a word. We've got to now separate ourselves. We've got to stand up on the watch so we can see what God is going to say. When you get alone and you get in prayer, you begin to discover the temptation that the enemy has now set out against you to trap. And with prayer, God will then make a way of escape. The Bible says it like this: the prophet had complained of the prevalence of the Chaldeans. Now to pacify him concerning it, God speaks right back to him. God has a way to talk to you when you sit there long enough to hear what he's saying. Many of us, our conversation with God on one side, and after we speak, we don't give him time to speak back. We're going to close in a minute. God begins to deal with Habakkuk like he dealt with Isaiah. Isaiah began to prophesy about the captivity while in the captivity. But God gave Habakkuk forewarning about captivity. Aren't you glad you serve a God that knows all? He's seated in yesterday, as he's seated in today, as he's seated in tomorrow, as he's seated in my future. God begins to deal with Habakkuk, and he says unto Habakkuk these words. He says, write the vision. I want you to look at somebody in the face and say, write the vision. My first question today in the house of God, as I get ready to close in less than 8 minutes, do you have a vision? Without a vision, the people perish. Look at somebody and say, the reason why you're dying now is because you have no future. Why don't I have a future? I have no goals. I have no aspirations. I have no vision. I have no prayer life. I have no insight. God says right. Right in the Hebrew is kerah, means to plan, means to prepare. Make oneself ready. Ask somebody, are you ready? For others that have a vision, you're not ready, amen, to handle the manifestation of the vision. Isaiah 54 and verse 16 said it like this. Isaiah 54 and verse 16, he says, behold, I created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. The C clause of that verse says, I have created the destroyer to destroy in the midst of the fire. What are you saying, Apostle Dunlap? God says, in your preparation stages, I have sent you through the furnace of affliction. God says, before I can fulfill the vision or the destiny or the purpose over your life, I've got to send you through what I call a testing and a holding and a waiting period. Whether you realize it or not, tell me, Refuge, that's what we're dealing with now. I'm ready to close here in a few moments. What we're dealing with now is what I call the furnace of affliction. God is trying. Yes, we have a vision, but God said, are you going to be here when the vision is manifested? Yes, I gave you a word. Yes, I gave you a promise. Yes, you got hope. But are you going to be here when it's fulfilled? Write the vision. Vision. Case on. The dream, the revelation, the oracle. The prophecy. Write your prophecy. Write your promise. Why was I given a piece of paper? Write the vision. Make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. Run as a Hebrew word is pronounced roots. Run for whatever reason. Run, stretch, post, spread abroad. Read, kara. I'm going to close. Read it. Publishes, preaches, proclaims, and or says. Can I pause here for a moment? Ooh, quiet in the synagogue today. Can I deal with this here for a minute? He says, write the vision, that he may run that readeth it. Everybody that runs after they've heard your vision doesn't run with the hopes of your vision being fulfilled. You've got many that's running to do one thing, discredit your character, hoping that it will alter the validity of your vision. Can I say that again? I'm going to take my time here. You've got many that hung around you long enough just to hear what God was going to do for you in your life so they can outrun you and discredit your character, hoping it will alter the validity of the vision that God has promised you. What you saying, Dunlap? They wanted to hear the vision that God had given Habakkuk, but outrun him so they could tarnish his name. How? Because they knew nothing of him. I said that in the introduction. Habakkuk had no history. They didn't know who he was, where he was from, or where he was going. Let me hear what God is going to do. So after I've heard, I can outrun you and try to change the truth of God into a lie. David said it like this, Psalm 55 and verse 12. He said, for it was not an enemy that reproached me. God, can I deal with that there? The only ones that read what Habakkuk wrote were the Jews, God's chosen people. What you saying here? Many times your biggest enemy is for the folk out there. Many times it's the one that you're praying with. It's the ushers, the armor bearers, the praise and worship leaders. The closest ones in your inner circle many times are the ones that will betray you. Your children, your mama, your daddy, your spouse. Have you ever heard the song Sleeping with the Enemy? The closest ones. I knew you would know. He says it like this. It was not an enemy that reproached me. He said that I could avoid it. Neither was he that hated me, that I could have hid myself. He said, but it was a man, my own equal. It was another visionary. God, can I deal with this here for a minute? Habakkuk is dealing with this same as David did. He said, had it been an enemy, I could have handled this. But it's somebody that was seated in the house of God next to me that had a vision just like I did. Somebody that was hearing quote unquote from God just like I was. And the reason why it hurt so bad, I never expected it. Somebody said never expected it. When you have a vision, you got to expect the unexpected. He said it like this, a man of my own equal, my God, my acquaintance. We took sweet counsel together. We walked in the house of God in company. I'm closing here in a minute.